Let's see, this is, I'm right on this.
I got no paper going.
You really don't.
I'm reading Killing Right. Oh man. This is what you had, right?
Yeah.
That one, don't mess with that.
Normally, I'm a one or two chapter reader. I read 8 chapters for him.
I got one.
I learned a lot of weird stuff about him. It's totally useless information. The ranch that he first bought when he was an actor in the 50s in California was 7,200 acres. It was called a 7,200 square foot house on this ranch, and they call it the other actors in Hollywood. 72 square feet. You know what it was next door to? It's in several of the opening scenes. It was the house that was next door to the Beverly Hillbillies.
And then he took it back.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I can hear them in real time.
And so what's
When I talk to
the mayor, but I
oh my God. And you can't be in a hurry. You have to be very methodical. And one guy literally took soap and water to the board. I mean,
Well, I was there, but I didn't stop.
Clean this thing and and
there's a
right out
the welder.
that was the darndest thing I ever seen. I didn't think he'd do that. He literally took soap and water.
It was
Sorry, yeah.
I got it. That's there.
The fascinating thing about it, some of the boards were broken. And he decided to try little snaps back. Right out of the ace.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got a pretty good.
I could get my hands on it. Clap on.
Red.
It had citizens, man.
It's like tower line.
Yeah.
I don't think it likes us.
Red lights.
Not very many people showed
Temperature
up.
and lamp.
My
That's
God.
in July.
I guess
Well,
so.
it's like the ones at school, they gotta cool down before they restart.
How you doing, sir?
Because it's been cool in here. Oh.
It's not hot.
Oh, you're not. If I jumped up there, I still couldn't reach that.
And the ones at school.
The ones at school, they were, they had.
These things take their damn time.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Yeah,
It's on.
yeah.
This one's
I
coming back.
don't see how
The one that stays
They
on.
gotta go around over the summers and pull the
There you go.
filters on
Was it on
the fan and blow
Yep.
them off.
I turned it on when I first got
That's
here.
why they went to
Oh.
start going to the smart TVs.
Then it got hot.
Also, and because of the longevity, obviously, the lamps, they burn out after so long.
Let's see how long that stays on this time.
Move your mouse. I'd lose too much.
Oh, it's going.
Going
Going back to red.
Wow.
Sometimes next Thursday. Somebody's gonna realize.
Move over to the
Yeah.
TV.
Oh, yeah, because it's really the very first second.
Yeah. It's always the second Thursday of the month. You gotta remember that, so.
And this month started on the first Thursday, so
Yeah.
people kind of forgot.
I know a guy that drove in here one night.
Does it have a filter?
here.
You
Looked around.
It's got a removable.
How did move the people? Hey, I'm great.
I'm gonna say, you know,
Tigers fan. Alan Sam, he drove all the way back up.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, what's funny?
I did that one.
That show was
I
popular.
calculated one.
They've been getting on 40 meters and all.
Yeah, moving over that one.
I try to work 40 in the morning and I can't. do it.
It's different. Let me tell you about my 40. Right cigarettes out front, left hands out back.
Which obviously was.
I had to take the wire loose
Yeah.
because of,
I think everybody.
It was in the edge of a tree.
Okay.
We went
Oh,
on.
no.
Took the wire loose and I didn't have time to put it back together.
Right.
We were.
And I was stupid.
Cable.
to that.
We just had nothing to do.
And my
We were
guy
driving around
that cuts
counting
the
your
grass.
Oh, you didn't see it.
You can't see a black wire. on
No,
the
you
black
can't.
Slide everything down.
Guess what? It was in thousands of people around the league.
I'll tell you what.
To the rescue.
I left the radio wire out on the grass. I ran over.
Yeah, I got some wire. and-
Yeah.
I just
That's
did
part
that.
four. Would you
Yeah.
review parts 1 through 3? I'm up here.
It's easily enough done, isn't it?
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah, I think so.
Something, whatever the other guy.
There you go.
Ready?
Want to start?
All right,
Say the
here we
pledge,
go.
please.
On your feet.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's happy.
You can tell the Marines in the room, you can tell the Navy guys in the room, you
Yeah.
can tell the honor guard guys in the room.
Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah.
Yeah, the honor guard guys would say, order.
Hoorah.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, here we go.
Rescue one. Somebody's having a heart attack somewhere.
Roll call. Sounds like a McDonald's
Oh.
drive.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was talking on my 2 meters and the people at McDonald's.
Let's start with a roll call. We'll start down front here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
KN4ITR.
Good. Jim, N4 JPC, Lake Wales.
Christine, K4KJN, Lake Wales.
John, KU8Q. Winter Haven.
Howard WB4 NYT Lake Wales.
Bob, KD4 and FC, Bartow.
Alan, KI4 MOX, Kathleen.
Grant, Whiskey 2, Bravo Foxtrot, Lakeland.
Chris, Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Juliet, Kilo Davenport.
And I'm Dan W5DBH from Haines City.
Gary, K4GHB from Winter Haven.
AB4FHP, Lake Wales. Thank y'all for being here tonight.
Anybody
Yeah,
else online?
do we have anybody on,
I don't know.
online
Up there.
over there?
Maybe, could be, possibly.
We'll look real quick. Gary, your turn.
All right, for the month, we took in $24 of dues and 47 cents of interest. We paid PayPal $1.09. Paper for the VEC, $13.61, and toner for the VEC, $24.71. So we started off with our ending balance rather is $7,143.
Good.
We still get to give the one check to clear. We reinstated one member, Ronnie Julian. I guess he moved away, then moved back. He has a new call sign, W4TRI. If you've been on the chat, you've seen him with his equipment. So that brings us up to 88 members for 2024.
Okay.
65% are ARRL members. We have 12 VEs now. We've filled all those positions. That's it.
All right.
Do you have anybody online?
Yeah, there's quite a few on here.
Oh.
They want to make a motion that we accept that or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
I move that we accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Master be here.
I have a short report.
Okay.
I'm sure.
3 folks walked in as technicians and walked back out as generals.
There you go. Good story.
Well, hopefully they get on the air. They are not already on the air.
We do
Some
know
people
we're
already
already-
on here.
John, may want to tell
Yeah,
them,
who's on here?
we're back in our home, John. We're back in our home.
Yes,
We're back at the Red Cross, thank goodness.
Are we still in the same two buildings? I mean, 2 rooms?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, nothing's really changed there.
Okay.
Other than they put some flooring in and painted and put a new ceiling in.
Polished up.
Lipstick and mascara, I guess they call it.
All right, we got FRZ, RTD, Charlie Walker, Ronnie, Julian, and Jim Simple on
Awesome.
on the line so far over there. Very good. All right. This is, as you know, this is mainly the classroom night, so we just have a real short abbreviated meeting. The QRP, we had 31 folks show up at QRP. If you went to QRP this time, I know there's a bunch of you did, and we appreciate you being there. Even Brother Howard showed up down at Fort Meade. Had a good time. Found some foxes. And if you haven't seen the video, you can go online and watch the video. It's on our website. We had a real good time. The kicker is we combined a little bit of Fort Meade history to it, but we also put those boxes were almost all in a straight line. So when you put your directional antenna, they're all the same place.
Oh, that could be very
But
confusing.
they were all over the place. They were all over town. So we had a good time. Ham and beans, we still need some help trying to get that planned and set up. So if you're interested in helping me with that, give me a call. We're going to be at Simmers Young Park. That's where we had QRP a couple of months ago. It has been requested that we change the ham and beans slightly because the big dogs on the porch don't want to be left out. They want to cook their hot dogs.
All right.
So we're thinking of doing chili dogs.
Okay.
So doing the ham and beans and because I make 5 gallons of chili. So we're going to be doing chili with the hot dogs. So if anybody opposed to that, let me know. Just remember, we're halfway through the year, a little more. We're coming up on our nominations in November for officers. And the QRP this month will be at Mary Holland Park in Bartow. APRS will be the tailgate tech team. So we will be using the 146.655 repeater in South Lakeland. That's KEG's repeater. It's up at 610 feet just north of Bartow. So it's a good repeater. He said, use it. Nobody else uses it. So it needs a little exercise. So that'll be our talk in. So, and that's all I've got unless anybody else got anything. All right. Dan the man.
Oh, boy. Where do I start?
Oh, boy.
As you've seen, we've been working on the grounding and bonding.
Right.
And I had a personal experience. It all started with Spectrum in the cable system. My television, when I got back from Maine, was pixelating and just doing weird things.
Oh.
So I called cable and they came out and did their thing, chopped connectors off, and found one connector that it got rather hot, let's put that way.
Oh.
So they fixed that and he got everything back together and he checking things out. And he goes to put the green wire, which is
Ground.
to the ground plug.
Right.
And he drew a nice arc.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
That's not right.
So that's exactly what he said. It's just not right. And I agreed with him. I said, why don't you just leave it off and we'll take care of it from there. He said, but you got to get a hold of an electrician because you got problems in your ground system.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I got a hold of an electrician and they said they'd be out Thursday or Friday or something like that, what it was. And they came out and inspected it, yep. And let's see, I got some pictures here somewhere. So they went over and did some inspection. And I think it's it. And then this is the ground rod that they found.
Okay.
They found a nice ground rod. It's got an acorn on it, so that was pretty good. And then he went and then he found this one. Now this is a cast, they call it a cast iron pipe, I guess they used to use in the plumbing before they changed over to the PVC, CPVC, whatever that is. So they changed over to that. But anyways, this cast iron pipe that when the house was built 28 years ago, was in the house and they had leaks, so they had to chop it all out, put all plastic in. That's why you see all outboarded plastic. So guess what? It don't go anywhere. So that was kind of cool. So we had this discussion and the head man came out to check it out.
Right.
He says, you can't leave that ungrounded. It's got to be grounded. And I says, okay, it's going to do it again because I was getting 10 volts at the time.
Right.
So the electrician came back out after he hooked it up. I didn't bother him. You hook it up, do whatever you want. It's your equipment. So the electrician came back and proceeded to do his thing. Now,
Right.
mind you, he replaced the outside breaker box. It's a weatherproof 150 amp breaker outside. That's all he had to do because I requested it. It was nasty, rusty, and didn't look very good. He did not replace that ground rod, the first one you saw. He did not replace any of the copper. He did drive another ground rod in and put an acorn on it and took this wire, I don't know if you see it, this wire off and fed it back down and fed it back up through the acorn, put it back on, put it back on the pipe.
It's probably not connected to anything.
But he got the second ground rod in 6 foot apart. That's what's supposed to be. That's the way my shack is. Anyways, he got that all put together. He said, yeah, I'm gonna hook it up. Okay. And I get back to the story about the electrician. A nice new panel,
Mhm.
no other wire. He got a ground block. I don't know how much that is, a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
150 amp breaker, the new box, ground rod, acorn. Now, do anyone take a guess how much that cost me?
About $600-700.
2,500.
Oh, you're getting close, but keep going.
Really?
Are you serious?
$4,000.
Yeah.
Ooh.
200 amp breaker? Yeah.
No, it's 150, but anyways,
And then how
it
long
cost me
ago was that?
$4,000. I wasn't gonna argue with the guy. I already agreed 4,000, but I expected a little bit more. I expected, 2
Right.
ground rods, some copper
Right,
put in,
right.
it all fancied up and all that stuff. I mean, no, he didn't. That's what he did.
Oh, my God.
So anyways, I took everything, for granted. I paid the bill. He's not happy, on his way. How do I back this thing up?
How many volts were you getting after you left?
That's probably an arrow going up.
That's what I got yesterday.
Okay.
Almost 4 volts.
Damn. That should be 0.
That's AC. I agree. It's supposed to be 0 because I went out into my shack with my 2 ground rods and I looked everything over. I
Yeah.
came inside, my big copper bus bar,
Right.
everything's grounded. And, no, I didn't ground this one, but my power supply, green wire coming out, that's going. My HF radio, that's out, that's going.
Right.
So I checked everything. I disconnected. I hooked my voltmeter up, 0. No ground potential. So that's good. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I'm still fighting with that. Why am I getting 3.8 volts?
What are you measuring between?
Yeah.
Are all your ground rods connected together?
What's the
You
on
should
that
have
meter?
2 rods.
What's connected to that
The
meter?
meter has one end of the green
Yeah,
wire
minimum of
and one
8
end of the
feet.
ground,
Minimum of 8 feet.
just like you would put it in. So the meter is my way of putting it in.
And the,
And
But
the
I-
green
I'm
wire's connected to what?
The green wire is connected to the ground bus off from the AC
The
circuit,
ground bus, little bar thing with the screws. in it?
Yeah.
yeah.
which I put the cover over there.
You have a
Do you have a
lizard in
10-foot
there?
ground rod?
Huh?
10 foot? 10 feet in the ground?
I don't know. I wasn't there when they did
It
it.
needs to be 10 feet.
Why?
Probably 10-foot rod.
Yeah. 10-foot rod, 8 feet this way, 10-foot rod, 8 feet that way.
You don't have to do more
On
than.
your equipment, are you measuring direct on the equipment to an earth ground
Yes,
and you're getting that voltage?
yes. And I disconnected their input.
Now, is
There
there
are
anything else connected to the, earth besides the ground rod?
Just a ground rod.
Just a ground
Yeah,
rod?
just like the electrical, just like you do in electrical.
If you feed it back to your radio and you're reading that voltage, then it's coming from the equipment.
No, when you say radio, it's got nothing to do with my ham radios. Nothing.
Okay.
This is all electrical. This is my household electric.
Household.
Maybe your neutral on your house is bad.
So,
Ooh, the weatherhead, for the power coming in.
so anyways, those are supposed to be 6 or 8 foot ground rods. I don't care. They're 6 foot apart. That's what
Okay.
is what the law states. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
But I'm getting that 3.8 volts and I disconnected their input to my breakers, whatever they go,
Theirs is the
all that stuff.
spectrum- The cable people?
Yeah, the cable.
Okay.
I disconnected, got their F connector with my hand.
Okay.
Guess what? 3.8 volts from
Oh.
there out.
Coming off the
ground.
Spectrum's cable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I
crap.
ask you another question? Did you turn that main breaker off your house, eliminate anything from the house feeding back?
I don't know. I'll try that tonight. I'll try it tomorrow.
Well, if you turn that off, they probably got a power pole with a neutral off.
Yeah, see, that's why I said, weatherhead, check your weatherhead.
No, not the weatherhead.
What is a weatherhead?
There is.
I live in an
That's where the wires
HOA.
come in.
We don't have weatherheads. It's underground
Power
buried.
company.
The power companies, yeah, you need to check that. See what's going on with that.
All right.
When you take a shower, does it shock you?
Probably.
Period.
Very well could.
Mr. Howard had one that did that, didn't he?
Well, if that ground wire is connected to that,
He had a
that
customer
pipe.
down the street that was,
that-
of his, that was getting tingled in the shower.
Yeah.
you got a circuit that's going on in there that needs to be broken somewhere.
Then flip the whole main breaker off your house.
Knock it
Take
off.
all the equipment off and then see if you get a voltage.
Yeah,
If it, then it's coming from the outside in. If it's AC.
if it's
It's
AC,
AC.
I'd slam that breaker down, knock her down.
Anyway,
Yeah.
going back to the presentation, which is grounding and bonding.
Okay.
And guess what we're going to be doing tonight?
Yeah.
Grounding and bonding in automobiles or trucks.
Oh.
So it's important. And it's a pretty good step.
Maybe that's how
So
they
now-
keep your house grounded back to your truck.
It's probably what's going to happen.
Oh, you're-
Thanks, Howard.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see, it's
story
on.
after you finish.
Gonna go here.
He still his fingers off.
Now, I don't know if I got audio or not, so we'll have to wait and see if he's talking. I don't have any audio.
Try to install radios on a phone. You ain't got no ground on that.
Creepers, I'm trying to get this up enough. Enough now?
You had audio, you no longer do.
Hello?
Right.
Out here.
Where's the audio?
Plans for a supervisor.
Had it for a second there. Oh, geez. I'm sorry.
That was good. That was okay.
Moses, sit down, take it easy.
Last did, he lives.
I'm sorry, guys.
Now you're back on.
We'll get the video back shortly.
Battery in my Hyundai, it's got 7 leads on it, on the power side, and it's got a fuse on it. the battery has a damn fuse on one of the leads. That baffled me from no end.
Kind of Hyundai you got.
Hyundai Genesis.
Okay.
2009. And I changed the battery in this thing. Let me tell you, you gotta have metric tools, and you gotta know what you're doing. And you gotta climb inside the damn trunk, because that's where the battery's at. Let me tell you, hauling that big bastard out of there was a truck battery, I swear to God, that wide. Pull that thing out of there, went down to Nap. 9?
How far were we?
I don't know.
So. All right. I gotta mute it. Do that in straighten the audio.
Trouble. Okay. Test one. Audio. There you go. Can't mute your mic. Talk. I have to. I have a whole.
Does anybody have audio?
No, Jim, I called them and they can't get the presentation machine unmuted.
Okay. Just checking.
Okay.
Fortunately, this video is on the ARRL website, so we can all go get it. But it's a shame that Dan's presentation isn't being, everybody there can hear it. It's coming out of the TV, but that machine is muted and they can't get it unmuted. So I tried to help them, but I can't.
Yeah. I guess I just watched the pictures.
That's all you can do.
Roger that.
Well, Jim, how far along did you get on your antenna today?
I went down to the metal supermarket and got a inch and a half, 18-inch long stub of pipe that I have to use to hook the fold-over device up to the antenna. I hooked the fold-over device up to the shaft of the flag pole. So I've got that. I'm gonna take the antenna partially apart tomorrow, so it's not so whippy on the end while I'm working with it, and I'll get it as soon as I get that device in. It should be in here in the morning. It's coming in by mail, and I usually get mail here by 11:30 or so. So as soon as I get that, I may just run out there and see if I can't put it up in the air. Just a couple of bolts is all it's going to take.
Good.
Yeah. That metal supermarket is quite a place. I've never heard of them before, but any size piece of aluminum or stainless or any kind of metal you want, you just go in there and ask them for it or order it online. Of course, I got the store not too far from here. Drive down there. They don't care what quantity or how small or how large a piece you want. They'll cut it, and I think the price is rather reasonable. I don't know. It was $12 for a 20-inch piece, an inch and a half by 1/8-inch wall.
That's great.
Aluminum tubing.
That's fantastic.
Happy with that. I may end up having to make a prop to go midway down the line when I have to lower it in case of a storm. Just because it's 23 feet long. Dead burn dogs drive me nuts. But anyway, as soon as I decide what I need, I'll go down there and get the material to do it too. Hello, Dan and Alan.
They don't have any microphones on right now. Everybody's muted.
All right.
There's Dan.
Hi.
We can hear you now.
What happened there?
Video stopped. We got a dog back in.
Damn, I don't know that dog.
Better than bugs.
I say we leave here and go to Dan's house and work on his electrical issue.
Yeah, I think we'll either work on it or we'll burn the house down, one or the other.
Everybody take a ground rod with them.
Exactly.
And a hammer.
Hey, if we're lighting somebody's house on fire.
Make sure y'all stop and get a 6-pack.
Be prepared for everything. Us little Boy Scouts are, so yeah, we'll do that. Bag of marshmallows, stick.
Yep. When push comes to shove, you might get a little bit of a metallic taste, but you can use a ground rod as a s'more stick.
Wow.
Might taste a little.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, Spectrum should have done a better job than that. I mean, honest to God, dude.
And that was your ground that was having
Yeah.
positive current through it.
Mm-hmm.
AC.
They may have a power lead. You got a loop going in there somewhere. It should have gone.
There's a loop going in this computer and the internet.
They have power lines.
I didn't even hit full screen.
Hey, Alan, as long as I can talk to you, that presentation machine is muted. That's why we're not hearing the presentation.
Round. They probably transposed the damn wires.
Yeah.
That's probably what they did.
So, remember.
Either the
Okay.
neutral or the ground.
Okay, you're unmuted now. Now you should be able to play that video.
Things are no longer aluminum or steel. That's the closed caption.
I don't know. It seems like it's some hands that.
It's just slow.
Yeah, that internet there is slow.
Yeah. I think that's the problem.
All right, we'll do this one more time, see if it plays and go. Because he can take the camera and shoot it up there, and we can take the audio out of everything.
Yeah, you can shoot the video that you're showing right now. Just put the camera to him. And he'll see the stem over in the wheel. All right.
Caption. You don't know? He's mad at me. Played with it at home.
Hey, Alan, it's Dave. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So when you go into the presentation and you're going to share that screen, there's a button at the bottom of that share where you use the up arrow key in the box around it. When you click on that and you're going to share that tab of that browser, it says share tab audio. That's got to be turned on for us to be able to hear the audio off of that browser tab. On the machine you're using to do the presentation, the little up arrow key with the box around it down at the very bottom where you would hang up the call and you say share presentation, you're gonna share a tab, which will be a browser tab with that video playing in it. Make sure that that audio box
So
is
run
checked.
your radio stuff all the
There
way
you
back
go.
to
You got
the
it.
battery and to the chassis
Yay.
or the battery management system. If you bond to the body, if you just say, well, I took a voltmeter and I measured 0 ohms between the chassis ground point and this point on the body. Well, okay, you may measure 0 ohms, but what that creates is a new return path that the vehicle's not designed for, your radio's not designed for, and RF, remember, you're in the antenna, and the RF is going to flow along that path too. So what you're asking for is RF to mix in with your return lead there, and that's probably not a good idea. Mobile radios are designed to operate all by themselves, isolated, just connected to the car's power system at the battery and the ground point, and they don't have to be connected to anything else. So don't complicate things by doing something the manufacturer does not expect you to do, either of the vehicle or of the radio. Anytime you make a connection in a car, make sure you use anti-corrosion compound designed for vehicle use as well. That'll help prevent corrosion, water damage, and all the other nasty things that happen when you're driving around outside. Okay, we just talked about single pieces of gear. They don't need bonding. They're not designed for it. Don't have to. You know how it is. You get it and you take it out to your car and you shove that radio down between the driver's seat and the transmission hump. We've all done it. I'm guilty. It's okay. Sometimes you say, it's just temporary. Years later, it's still shoved down in there. Is it bonded to anything? Absolutely not. It's just connected to some antenna and to the battery. So we know how hams are. Okay, you don't need to mount these things on metal for them to work. But if it makes you feel better, remember the body panel is part of the antenna system. You're in the antenna.
Are you serious? I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I was just trying to make it a little better for everybody in here.
Okay. We're just here for the
Yeah.
Well, I've got a book on bonding and grounding.
That's
so I can
definitely-
read that. So. I don't have any problems.
Sorry, I just wanted to make it better. I guess I shouldn't have.
Just from a,
It was good.
does this all the time in vehicles. Different kind of vehicles, including
Oh, yeah.
$1 million fire trucks. You've got, what he's saying is absolutely true. And if you'll pay real close attention, your vehicle knows when you put something in there.
Oh, God, yes.
If it's real smart, for example, what year's your truck, John?
2014.
2014.
Mhm.
Mine's
Is this where we were at?
2020.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my 2020 has 46 computers
46 of them.
compared to probably only about 18 in his.
Yeah.
Those,
And even
all
all
of
them
them
damn
do
things do
BCM.
bits
That-
too.
that-
Body control
the
module.
body
Yeah.
control module that he's talking about. Give you a real quick illustration that you can relate to. If you ever come outside from your car and you've not done anything, haven't put a two-way radio or anything, and your battery's dead. If you have an iPhone charger plugged into your cigarette lighter plug, all night long, that iPhone charger through the ground has confused the BCM.
It doesn't want that.
It does not like it at all. Now, iPhone is a little different than an Android charger
Oh, yeah.
because it uses pulsing. So it checks itself every few minutes to see if there's something plugged into it.
Okay.
And that may light something up.
I just-
Phone, control input, especially if you're using a remote control head. So you may not want to mount your radio directly to a metal panel. May require an isolated subpanel like a piece of plastic or a box in which you put the radio. Don't bond your control head to the body. You've got a remote control head. You've got the, the radio's down under the seat someplace, bolted onto the seat rails, and you've got your little radio head. It's up on a gooseneck thing, or it's Velcroed to your dashboard or something like that. Do not bond it to body metal. It's not designed for that. What you will create is another ground path for RF to get into your control head. They are designed to have that special cable that costs so much to go from the control head all the way down to the radio. That's how they design them. That's how they test them. Don't surprise the manufacturer by saying, hey, I think this is a good idea. I'm going to find a body screw here and I'm going to connect it to the car. Don't do it. Okay, they're not designed for it. Another good option, aside from mounting your equipment, and you definitely want to tie the equipment down securely. You do not want a several pound radio flopping around in the car if you happen to have an accident or anything else. People have been seriously injured by radio equipment, not amateur, of course, but radio equipment that is loose in the passenger compartment, flying around and hitting them in the head. It hurts. Okay, it's not happened to me, but it has happened to other people. Don't put yourself in that situation. Mount stuff securely, even if you stuck it between the driver's seat and the transmission hub. Okay, what are other options? Standalone mini racks. These are becoming very, very common. It's easy. Put your stuff in there, tie it down securely. You can put it in your car. You can put it in the trunk. You can take it in and out. You might put it where people can't see it, so they take it in and out, mostly out. But this makes a very nice portable package. And if you're going to do emergency communications or anything else, you got everything bonded together. You got it working. All you've got is a power and an antenna connection. That's great. Truck toolboxes, fantastic. Big metal boxes, heavy duty, lockable. Carry case stations like at the bottom there. You've got a plastic Pelican or something like that. Those work well. Like I said, you can have some security issues, so you got to deal with that. But everything's bonded together internally. They can operate completely independently of the vehicle. So all your bonding is done right within that enclosure. Watch out for airbags. Mechanical security is really important. So we want to bolt everything down. Airbags are everywhere in a late model vehicle. You've got them in the dashboard, you've got them in the side panels, you've got them above your head, all these different places. And if you have an accident, God forbid, that airbag is going to come out at 100 miles an hour in order to get deployed quickly to protect you. Okay, if you mount something on that panel, it's going to come out at 100 miles an hour too. So you don't want to be hit with a radio or a control head at 100 miles an hour. Trust me, I don't know that personally from experience, but I think it's a pretty bad idea to mount things where the airbags are going to push them at you. Okay, so if there's any question about where those things are, go to the dealer and ask them to show you. Okay, they know about this. So do professional installers. You can use the channels in your car. If you open your door and you look at the bottom of the door opening, you'll see a trim strip that has some screws on it. You can pop that off. You pop that off, you go, oh, look, there's a nice little cable tray in there, and there's probably some wires in there already. You can run coax, you can run control wiring, you can run all kinds of feed lines and power stuff in there, and it's protected. When you put that trim strip back on there, it's hidden, it's protected, and usually that's metal. So it's actually enclosed sort of in a little shield. Good stuff. And it protects your cables so they're not always getting chewed up and bent and things like that. So use the trim strips. Watch out for hidden wiring. Let's say you're going to drill a little hole up at the top of, say, a hatchback mount. Okay, you're going to drill a little hole there for a ground wire or something. Okay, only drill through the tiny little minimum amount that it takes to get a hole in that piece of sheet metal. Manufacturers run all kinds of wires through spaces that you can't see and don't know about. So you don't want to take that drill and go, and run it all the way in there, and find out that you just chewed into a 12-volt line or something like that. Just put a little sleeve over the drill bit and just drill tiny, tiny little bit. Best of all, get a service bulletin for your car about installing radio equipment. It will show you where and where not to run the wiring. So repair manuals may help. Service bulletins are really good, and use that information so that you don't make an expensive mistake when you're installing your gear. Okay, mounting antennas is really important because you want to make sure that the RF radiates outside the vehicle, not from the feed lines running through the vehicle and all this other stuff. Okay, so bond your antenna mount to the body at the antenna. That is the point, the feed point of the antenna where the coax connects. That's where you want to bond to the body. And probably the best mount for that is a through panel NMO mount where you drill about a 1-inch something hole and stuff this thing through, and then you screw it into the sheet metal and bond it to the sheet metal right there. Okay, that's assuming you have sheet metal. Okay, but the NMO is probably the most secure type of antenna mount, especially for VHF stuff. Lip mounts, where you have a little clip that goes over, bend it over, and it holds on to the edge of a trunk or a hatch or something like that. Yeah, you can get that to work. That works pretty well at VHF, but at HF, you need some additional body bonding to really handle the currents, because the currents are going to flow all over that vehicle. With VHF and UHF, with short wavelength, you've got a pretty small area over which the currents are high. With HF, it's the whole car, okay? So that current's all going to come back. Make sure you've got a good bond between your lip mount here and a nearby body screw. And if you have to put in a screw nearby, you can sometimes unbolt a hinge or something and put a terminal under that. At any rate, beware of the paint and the coatings underneath. Those lip mounts have little sharp set screws that are designed to pierce the coatings that are on cars that are really good now, but you still need a little extra bonding at HF. Mag mounts, they just don't work well at HF. You only get about 100 picofarads per magnet, and that's a fair amount of reactance. That's going to upset the tuning. It causes strange current imbalances here and there. If you can get away without using a mag mount at HF, that's a good idea. You want one of these really extra sturdy lip mounts that goes on the size of a hatchback. You want a through panel NMO or a 1/4 inch by 24 mount. And remember that the coax shield is going to be part of the antenna because it's another conductor up there at the feed point. And unless you shield it by putting it under a panel, or you use a bonding wire to the body to sort of short circuit out that feed line, it's going to pick up a lot of RF and conduct it right back into the passenger compartment. So decouple if you can. If you're going to put ferrite cores out there, put them at the antenna. So the only thing you want radiating is the antenna and the surface of the vehicle. You want to decouple out there, not try to troubleshoot it after the RF's gotten into your vehicle. When you're buying a car or you're planning an upgrade or something like that, go to the dealer and ask the salespeople about upfit packages. These are the things where you can buy a car that is already set up to have radio equipment put in it. If your salesman goes, I don't know what you're talking about, then go talk to the fleet salespeople or the resales people. They will certainly know what an upfit package is, and tell them you want to put in two-way radio equipment into the car. They do that for police. They do it for any kind of public safety, government, delivery fleets, all this kind of stuff. It's a well-known problem, and they've already solved it for you. It's not that expensive. You sometimes can buy a vehicle with an extra heavy alternator and all this kind of stuff. They sell thousands of these things. Okay, so why don't you get in on that? Save yourself a lot of trouble. Do it right from the beginning. Your service department will have some guidance about where to and not to install radios. Again, manufacturer service bulletins are good information about this. And car audio and two-way radio shops are really good at installing this stuff. Just take your stuff over to them and say, here, put this in my car properly. They've got all the tools, they've got knee pads, they've got backs that don't hurt. They know everything about what to do and what not to do. And they'll save you a lot of problems. Well, are we done yet with this long 4-part presentation? Well, we're almost done. I promised that there would be some additional resources. Here's where you go. Here's the professional associations and companies that are out there with information for you to do grounding and bonding safely in the ham station. The National Fire Protection Association, they do the National Electrical Code, and you can look at individual bits and pieces of the NEC on their website if you don't want to buy an NEC. An NEC copy of it is probably at your library as well. The International Association of Electrical Inspectors has a lot of interesting information there. Mike Holt Enterprises, Mike trains electricians across the country. He's really got a huge operation going, and there's a lot of information out there that you can get access to, including a lot of tutorials for electrical stuff. And Polyphaser also publishes white papers, including white papers specifically for amateur stations. Polyphaser was founded by a couple of hams. The Block brothers are prominently mentioned. And so there's a lot of information about ham stuff on the Polyphaser site. If you really want to get serious and you want to know where the standards are coming from, here's the top one for VHF and up. If you're saying, well, this presentation was all about HF and it wasn't really for me at VHF, go get a copy of Motorola R56. It's widely available online. I'm not sure the absolute latest version is freely available, but you can definitely make use of the last couple of editions of this, and it will show you what to do. You don't have the budget that communication site builders do, but you can look at what they tell you to do and say, well, what have I got, and how can I approximate this? How can I do this kind of thing? The FAA has a good documentation, 6950.19a. You paid for it. And this is how to build communication facilities. IEEE standard 1100, that's expensive to buy, but it's available in libraries, and it talks about power and grounding of electronic equipment. It's pretty serious. And then there's Mill Handbook 419A, which is how to build communication systems for military installations. And that's a lot of HF stuff. So some of these are interesting to flip through and say, so that's how they do it, huh? And then you go back and you look at what you got and you try to do that. Books, good stuff. Here's our block again, The Grounds for Lightning and EMP Protection, 2nd edition, Polyphaser Corporation. Sometimes it's available online, sometimes you can buy a used copy. Rand wrote this book called Lightning Protection and Grounding Solutions for a Communication Site, also published by Polyphaser. And the ARL Technical Information Service sections, they're just gold mines. And it always amazes me, people go, what are you talking about? And they're ARL members. Go to arrl.org and look up the Technical Information Service. Even if you're not a member, and I hope you are, you'll find a lot of freely available information. And if you are a member, there's just tons of articles and good guidance on all kinds of protection. Here's the 3 that are widely applicable to this topic: electrical safety, grounding, and lightning protection. So a lot of good information there. So those are your additional resources. I'd like to thank everybody for hanging with me for all 4 parts of this long drawn out presentation. I hope you'll get a copy of my book, which tries to bring all this information together so that you can build your own little toolbox. And happy grounding, happy bonding. 73.
What was his name? What is his name?
I have no idea.
I who did the presenting.
How to get back to my presentation.
Just minimize the window. Actually,
You just close this window, close this tab on your browser.
Okay. Oh, where'd you go?
Wait,
I got you. I got you.
was that Ask Dan?
Yep, that's it.
Y'all see it, Dan?
Where'd you go?
Hold on. Hold on.
There you go. That tab's closed. Now we see your camera.
Okay. Now your camera's not
Now
pointing
we
at
see your presentation.
Do you see the presentation now?
Yep.
me. One moment.
Go back here. And you should be able to.
Hey, okay. This is my Toyota, my Subaru.
Okay.
Okay, that works.
Subaru.
That's my Subaru. You can see over here. That's where it's bonded. It's ground.
Okay.
The black wire goes over the battery. And here, guess what? These are two fuses. Right? Here's my Yaesu, my HF radio.
All right.
If I pass it around, can anybody find a problem with this?
yeah, there's no ground fuse.
Where are the fuses?
Right there in the white thing.
One single.
Where does that go?
Into the radio.
Yeah, not fused at the battery. I called them up and I've actually got the new cable. They said, oops, we made a mistake.
Supposed to be close as the battery as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And if that's not interesting enough, I'm not going to start anymore with electrical grounding and bonding because I've had my fill of it. So I guess that's about it, Mike.
That's it. The one thing I will tell you that's going to be a problem for vehicles. We're already seeing it as a Ford owner.
All right.
I can tell you, mine's 100% aluminum.
Uh-huh.
So you've lost all availability for magnet mounts, which I hate anyway. But if you'll notice on my truck, I know it's not correct as far as spectrum for the two antennas to be that close together, but that plate is dual 2-inch flat ribbon cable going straight to the both frames.
Chassis. Okay.
So that's how it's binding. So it's for me, it's putting an NMO mount and he said 1 inch, please don't ever go 1 inch on a roof. It's a 3/4 inch. It is not a 3/4 of an inch EMD. That's an electrical drill that you would do, put conduit in. You will have a 5/8 inch hole. You'll have a 5/8 inch hole and your NMO will still fall through.
No,
So it's 3/4 of an inch. It's an antenna hole saw, 3/4 of an inch hole
Absolutely.
saw, which only has teeth. It's 1/8 of an inch. It
Yeah.
won't go through the wires that he's talking about. So anyway, but there's a
Deal.
there's a gazillion airbags. There's a gazillion stuff. So consult a professional before you start doing something.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dan. It was good. We finally got it running.
We'll get through it one way or the other.
Thank Alan too.
7 3s.
7 3s.
But I was gonna say,
Dan? It's gone. I was gonna try to get through to Dan. You still on here, David?
Yeah, I'm on here, buddy.
I was gonna suggest Dan disconnect his power from his house totally and then read from the incoming neutral from the power company to his ground, his earth ground at the house. I have seen hot neutrals that are coming back from the power source.
Yeah, generally you don't have neutrals in a residential in a residential power source. You would see that in a 3-phase system, a
No.
neutral, but not coming off the grid, not coming into your house. You only have 2 hots.
You've got 4 white wires coming into that house. Or I mean, 4 wires. You've got your 2 hots, and you've got a green, and you've got a white wire.
Not in my house.
You don't have a white wire coming into your house?
No, sir.
So your neutrals all go to ground.
Correct. Yeah, they're bonded in the box.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting.
On a three-phase commercial service, you do, but I mean, I don't know. Do you actually have a neutral coming from the power company into your house?
I can't remember now. I'm not in my house and I won't be ever back there again. But I know you've got that green wire coming in.
Yeah, well, there's a ground rod going in underneath the meter outside, and that ground rod, it's a 10-foot ground rod, I'm sure. I didn't put it in. It was here when I bought the house. And it comes up into the panel,
Right.
and it connects to the ground bus, and then the neutral bus has a direct wire running from the ground or the neutral bus over to the ground bus, and so they're both bonded inside the box, which is very common I've never seen in residential. Now, what we do for business work, yes, absolutely. There's a neutral, and but it's all three-phase.
Might have been mistaken, because I know I have seen hot neutrals before. And,
Oh yes. Oh yeah. There's a ground potential. If you've got power between ground and neutral on a three-phase system, you've got a grounding issue.
Yeah, but he's not in a three-phase system.
No, he's not.
I mean, it's single phase, 220 single phase.
Yeah, but where's he measuring this voltage, this 3.4 volts or whatever? What is that? Where's that potential? I didn't hear that part of it. I didn't understand where he was taking this reading from and getting these 3 volts.
I don't know where it was, but it seemed like if it was, it's like he's got something leaking, like a piece of equipment that's always on and is somehow leaking power or leaking current, and not much. So it's not a GFI supported circuit, because if it was, those
You would
things
trip it. Yeah.
trip heartbeat for that much current flowing.
Yep.
Potential.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's a strange situation.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I've actually thought about giving up my ARRL membership because I just not getting the magazine anymore. I don't look at the electronic books and stuff, but looking at this presentation tonight again makes me want to re-up it. But for $55 a year, they ought to do something more for you.
Yeah, I know. I just renewed mine. It was due this month or August. Yeah, this month.
Yeah.
I just did it last week, but yeah, I took the code course many years ago from a guy that named Jim Henry that went around the country teaching the electric code course. And it was several nights I had to drive to Lakeland to go through that thing. And didn't pass the final exam, but I just never followed through getting my license, because I had a guy was saying he'd sign off that I was an apprentice, even though I wasn't, but he knew me real well. But I never did it. I'd always feel like I was doing something wrong. But I should have kept it up. But I ran wires everywhere you can imagine. Bent conduit and EMT was blue in the face.
That's an art, that right there. Bending conduit is an art.
You know the hardest part about bending conduit is that stupid little half-inch offset that you got coming down a wall on a standoff, or just clamped to a wall, and you got enough to get it into a box. That is the hardest stub to do. And I learned a trick. Do it in the middle of a full piece of conduit. And cut it off down there where you want it, and then go put a coupling back on top. Oh, you're doing it. 90s are no problem. I just run that.
Right.
I had 2 or 3 conduit benders. I even had one rigid pipe bender. It took 2 men and a small boy just to do a 1-inch bend in that thing. I said, forget that. You can buy bends for those, fun days.
All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna head towards the bedroom, let out the dogs, and I've
Yeah.
had enough for one day.
I guess I'm gonna go plug my antennas back in tonight.
Well, you have rain over there? You have some thunder?
Yeah, we did pretty close to it for quite a while, but it's
Oh,
moved.
wow.
It has moved on out. So
Well, good. We haven't had anything over here. It's been pretty calm. I took the boat over to the dealer this morning, over to Tampa, and dropped it off, and I don't know if they're gonna have it done tomorrow or not. But I said I probably wouldn't be able to come back over till Saturday anyhow. I've got a lot on my plate, and I've got a conference call with one of my guys at 7 a.m. So I want a good hour or two at my computer prior to that meeting in the morning. So I'm going to go to bed.
I got a couple of morning nets that I check into, so I don't want to have to get up in the morning and run out there and do it and all this stuff. So I'll do it tonight. But you get that boat, or make sure they got the drain plug in it.
Yeah.
I stumped their boat back here in the canal. They brought it back after having some modifications done on a brand spanking new Hurricane. And I get a call from her and says, "Our boat's filling up with water. What did I do?" I said, "Well, obviously the drain plug's not in it." So the next scramble was try to find a drain plug. So they call, what is it, B&H up here where they bought the boat or something. He says it's one of the cup holders. And Ed went out there and found it. Of course, he had to jump in the canal to get it because it's down under the motor, screwed in from the outside. And my boat was old school; it was on the inside. But
You can't get to where the drain plug is on my boat unless you were a midget. You certainly couldn't get from the inside down to where that hole is.
Is it inside plug actually inside the boat, or is it out on the outside?
It's outside on this boat. Yeah.
Right. That's the reason they do it that way.
If you had to get into it from the inside, if you actually had to go like put a plastic bag in it or something and build and pump it out, you couldn't get to it.
Like I just had a little expandable plug in mine, and I just pop it in from the inside because that's where they go in that type of boat I had. It was real easy to do. Just lift the, the bracket, the cover.
Yeah, well, on this boat, the whole back end, the whole aft end of it is all storage.
Well,
and
that's the way the Hurricane was too. That's the reason he had to do it from the outside.
You'd have to have a kid go down in there to do it. Yeah, or jump in the water and go do it from the outside. So, yeah, and believe it or not, when I bought this boat and brought it home, that goddamn plug was loose in that boat when I was out in the driveway because Sharon and I waxed it before we put it in the water. Yeah. And I checked the plug on it before I drove it around to the lake. And do you know, I put about 5 turns on that plug.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Why would they do that? They know people that idiots buy boats.
They do it for one reason, because when you take it over there to get it surfaced, it's going to rain. And when it rains, that's the only way the water can get out of your boat. So they just leave it out. As soon as they take it in there, if it's not stored inside, they're going to pull that plug so it doesn't fill up with water.
Yeah, mine's got an automatic bilge pump in it. No matter if the power is turned on or not, the bilge runs. So that is a nice feature. I do like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Ed and Jenny have in theirs, but anyway, let you go. Good night, buddy.
Good night, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.